Welcome, beautiful soul tribe. I have the amazing Renee-Star Johnson with me tonight, my soul sister, all the way from the UK. And we are talking Akashic Records today. How are you, darling sister?
Oh, yeah, I'm so good. Thank you so much for inviting me on for this gorgeous talk. And I just think it's so beautiful how we've linked up all the way around the world. So beautiful.
Isn't it just beautiful that you feel that connection? And so many of us now are operating in that fifth dimensional consciousness where we realize that energy is everything. There are no barriers. If I want to contact you at any time through telepathy, we can be in that space together, having gorgeous dialogues. But here we are in the 3D using the power of technology to bring this transmission through for both our tribes, and we just feel so blessed for the people that surround us as well, that are such conscious beings and are so open to this. I guess it's more esoteric information, isn't it, Renee? I mean, when we talk about the Akashic Records, we're not just talking about this celestial living library of all our experiences. We're actually talking about all the thoughts that we have, even our intentions. Like it's a whole powerful, pulsating, alive frequency of everything that has ever existed in the cosmos. So obviously that's what you do, and that's your passion, and you actually do courses and trainings in how to access the Akashic Records and so much more that we'll get into later today. But how would you describe in your words, because we don't need to get technical about Akashic Records, we want to bring through what Renee knows about the Akashic Records and your personal passionate download about what they represent and how it helps us at this time as we go through this ascension gateway together.
So what I will say, I will just let everyone know first of all how it kind of started for me was in my awakening in 2011, when I would just come into contact with people and receive information about past lives, what was going on in their body at the present moment, what their thoughts were. And I was like, what on earth is this? It freaked me out at first. I just didn't really quite understand it. And then they were like, you're accessing the Akasha. This information is here to serve humanity, but what your job is a teacher, basically, of the libraries, the cosmic heavenly libraries, to help everyone to access their book from source, because it's all golden source light up there, and we are as well. We're not separate from that. But it holds everything that we ever have been, everything that we will be, and everything that we are in the present moment. And that is all oscillating in our energy field all in one time. So all of our karma, all of our soul contracts, all of our deeds, everything, all our gifts, our talents, is all in there. And that's how I've transformed my life, through that work.
So for you, Renee, you would describe what happened to you as a walk-in scenario, in terms of how almost where you, maybe the timeline that you're on at that time really got sort of flipped, I guess, and you had a walk-in soul energy, still aspects of self, but perhaps say a more refined, a higher dimensional aspect of self came through at that time. So how would you describe that walk-in terminology that we use for people that may not be aware of how that operates?
Okay, so I'm a walk-in, which means that I've been through quite a lot of trauma. In my early years, my father passed away at the age of 26, which left me all of my life with a fear of death at a young age, which built up and built up and built up to the point where I was attracting in really bad experiences, problems in my own personal life. My voice has gone a bit shaky talking about this. And I think the old Renee had just had enough. She couldn't cope anymore. And I sort of made a contract, if you like, for that old aspect to leave and the new soul to walk in. But that process was intense. It was the physical body broke down. My eyesight changed. I was seeing everything in much higher definition. Everything looked like super what is the word, like high definition sight, where I could just see everything. But it also helped me to be able to connect to the art. My eyes are really, really powerful. They can see and hear everything. So these different aspects of this galactic higher self sort of walked in and was like, right, we've got a job to do, we need to get on with it. But relating to the Akashic Records, I still had memories, contracts, karma that I still had to clear because it was still held at a cellular memory. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. And I wanted to ask you about that with our timelines,
Yeah.
even though it's there and accessible within the Akashic Records, are we able to have those juncture points upon the timeline where we may have an option to go one path or the other, and that may be in the records, but there's almost like a highest timeline probability that we're going to take? Do you find when you go into the Akasha that is able to be perceived?
Yeah, well, I will just say that when I went through my when I went through that experience, I had no idea that was happening to me. So, that was an agreement that was made with my higher self and with Source, my goddess self, and then with Source, that agreement was made, and that was when the switchover happened. It was like a split in timelines, and it was as if my soul, or that higher aspect of myself, had made an agreement to carry on and to do God's work, Source work, basically. So yeah.
It's a really important distinction, isn't it? Because a lot of people, particularly if we look at the timelines of what's happening, within the galactic history of Gaia, Mother Earth at this time, we definitely have a fork in the road. We see the two paths that are very distinct, and it's almost like I see it as the tectonic plates of Gaia have created a big crack. Are you getting that download too? And there's a gap. Yeah, at the moment, there's still the gap's still small enough so people can jump timeline. They can jump across that crevice, but that gap's getting wider and wider and wider. And our elders here in Australia, our original people, they say it's probably another 2 to 3 years, and I'm sure you're receiving or you access that same tree bumps. We all download the same information. We may express it a different way, but we're receiving those same insights. So I feel it's important for people to know that there is opportunity should they want to change tracks, so to speak, should they want to jump across the crevice and move into the organic timeline. And what I'm finding at the moment, and I know you work with a lot of people in a healing sense as well, is that they may have gone down the inorganic timeline. They may have taken certain medical procedures, but then that has become an awakening for them. And so we must discount any notion that they're not able to move into the organic timeline, despite what they may have bought into and physical processes that have been undertaken. There is opportunity at the moment, and I feel like talking to you about the Akasha, it's the perfect time to remember that this golden, beautiful living library of all that we are and all that we potentially could be is available. So why not use all resources at the moment? Same as what we would go down rabbit holes and research these days on the internet. Back in my day, we used to go to the library, but it's the same thing, isn't it? It's the same thing.
Library. Yeah, I mean, honestly,
more on those powers. Yeah.
I mean, I'll be really honest with you, without this work, I don't really know where I would be. Let's put it that way. It has helped me to clear my karma. It's helped me to clear karmic soul ties, soul contracts through all timelines, all past lives, past, present and future, that no longer serve me. Clear up any unresolved karmic energy from past lives and this lifetime. Access my soul gifts, which is basically what my whole business is based on, is everything that's out of my Akashic Records. All my jewelry that I design is out of my Akashic Records. They're all symbols, all cosmic codes and acceleration tools to take you to the next level. And the beautiful thing about the Akashic Records as well, I know you just touched on the inorganic timeline. That's something that I've been helping people with in the Akashic Records. So people who have taken the inorganic timeline, who are feeling lost, depressed, low, and there's so many. I mean, there's hundreds that I've worked with that have experienced this. That feel like they come to me with such guilt, which is so sad. So we go in and we clear all of that out. I'm also able to clear the energy up with regards to that. Okay, so you can go in and clear the energy out, which is amazing. And people have said they've felt a massive shift in their frequency and their vibration once they've cleared it out. You know, that's for people who may have wished that they hadn't have gone down that route. Okay. And I also have people ask me lots of questions about it. But in every moment, in every single second of every moment, you always have a choice. And the choice is to take, every day, hand on my heart, I now commit and vow to take, the path of my highest timeline, my very highest self, in service to Source, in service to Mother Earth as well, and in service to all my brothers and sisters on this planet. So I think when you start to just go, right, okay, nothing else outside of that, it matters, as long as I stick to that and ask to be placed in that every single day, you will move through and open more doorways of opportunity. Hence why I'm sat here with you today. It's only through clearing all of that old stuff out from past life that that I'm be able to bring souls like yourself into my life.
Yeah. And vice versa, obviously, and aligning with divine will. It sounds so simple to listen to you say it, and many of us listening would say, well, why wouldn't I choose to align with divine will? But we know the doing of it, the actual committing to that pathway, isn't always the easiest pathway. And in many senses, to begin with, it's the most challenging pathway, because when we look at what you just spoke about, releasing all of that trauma from the past, moving into clearing the past life attachments that we may have, where we go in and we realize we've probably murdered someone in a past life. How do we make peace? Yeah, how do we make peace? So let's go there. Let's talk about the Akasha in terms of all the different stages, but let's go back into past lives and tell me your experiences.
Okay, so I've had many past lives. I've had lots of situations where I have done exactly what you just spoke about. I've hurt people. I've taken people's lives in past lives, and that is something that I've had to clear as well, and you can go in and, it's working with forgiveness as well. You have to forgive yourself and forgive everyone involved and work from the very highest levels of Source. But when you go into the Akasha, you are always directed by Source. Okay, you are always guided, and Source will direct you with what it is that you need to do. And also the archangels and the ascended masters and your spirit guides and your guardian angels all step forwards to assist you in that process. So yeah,
it's powerful. And what I love about talking about the Akashic Records is that we do, despite all that benevolent support, and it sounds so glorious to be with the archangels and aligned with source code, and of course that energy is always available to us and can wrap us in that golden light. And it's very much needed, isn't it, Renee, when we go in and we do that darker, murky dive into those deep waters of pain and so-called mistakes.
Yeah.
And it really helps us then, as we forgive self for all those dark deeds, to forgive others who are also at this time. As we look around the planetary sphere, there's so many dark deeds that are going on both on the planet as well as in those lower astral realms that are, trying to siphon off the human life force at the moment. And this is what we're seeing with that divide of the two paths. Some people are choosing that inorganic timeline, thereby giving those hijackers access to their thoughts. And so they can be easily manipulated. We call it the zombie apocalypse. We have all these names for it to help us to really understand what's going on right now. But if we've done our own, if we've gone into the timelines and we've gone back into, and I'm going to say there is no time, but we're going to have to use timelines and past and present for the sake of human language and this discussion. If we go back into the past of ourselves, that past timeline, and we realize we've also been that energy. We've been that dark. It helps us to sort of reframe what's happening at the moment and see almost those aspects of self as that past timeline that will always upgrade at some point, the same as we have upgraded.
Yeah, exactly. And the shadow work has been dark at points, it's been really grimy, it's not, I'm not saying that this work is easy. It's beautiful, beautiful work, but you have to be prepared to be devoted to your pathway and to also know that you will go through you might have to face some of those dark aspects in order to move through it. But the beautiful thing about this work is it works on a quantum level. So you can shift stuff just really very, very quickly. But also with regards to what's happening on the planet at the moment, it is a replay of what happened at the Fall of Atlantis. Okay, I just want to bring that in because it's very, very similar. What we're seeing play out now, and all those souls that are in power are actually repeating their programs, repeating their cycles. So we have to forgive them, and that's the only way that we'll move forwards is through forgiveness and through being there to help support others through the ascension process, to be the hoyer over, to be the ones that are like, come on, you can do this, you're nearly there, we're in the middle and we've just got to get to the other side, but you're nearly there. We can help those beautiful souls, even though who are there's a lot of confusion out there at the moment. Lots of people don't know whether they're coming or going. They don't know what the difference is between light and dark. There's a lot of confusion there, but it's because a lot of the old programs from Atlantis are still there in this bodily system, in the physicality of the body, in the brain, in the book of life. And I've held many workshops, like group workshops, where we've gone into the Akashic Records together to clear the Fall of Atlantis, to clear the hard, heavy memories and emotions to do with that. So
yeah, powerful. And I know there's some questions coming in too, which we'll get to later, and please keep asking questions. But I have that recurring dream. I've had it all my life, of that Atlantean wave where I turn around, and the wave is very scary, obviously, but what is even more alarming is the deep feeling of we failed. Like it sticks in my throat just to say that.
Yeah, when you just said that as well, I just got like this lump in my throat. Yeah. And
I'm sure people can pick up on that same frequency. And so we're here and we're at that crescendo. I mean, crescendo is probably a good word when we talk about wave, but we are at crescendo point again.
Yeah.
And this time, solar wave that's coming. When we look at the amount of photonic light coming into the planet, we look at the galactic precession, and Gaia, Mother Earth, she's in the photon band. We look at the Schumann resonance; it's pinging, it's off its dial, and we're all riding these ascension waves. Renee, tell us from your words what happened in Atlantis. Tell us, just without any theory attached. Just tell us from your heart. What did we do? Why did we sink ourselves? And what can we do differently now?
Okay, so
for you there, darling.
Yeah, no. I just want to go back to something that you said. I think you said I just want to talk about harmonic convergence.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're coming into a space of, I want to say, the Fall of Atlantis. I won't talk about it too much because it is very heavy, the fall, and I don't want to bring that up in everyone's energy because that might trigger people.
But that's also what we're here for. So, yeah, it's good. We're holding
So,
light here.
the Fall of Atlantis, there were lots of lower vibrational energies. I'm just going to say sort of, I'm not going to use trigger words. In other words, I'm going to use other words because I don't want to bring in the words, like maybe I can talk to you on a more personal level about it, because yes, it's probably not the best energy to bring into this space, but it was like the lower forces of light came in, tried to manipulate, take over, and then sort of things got quite dark. Some people stayed with the light and some people went with the dark because of fear. Does that make sense to what is actually happening on the planet now? Lots of us had collars placed around our throats so that we didn't speak our truth, which is something that we've all constantly had to work on, like these holograms that were placed around our necks, the removal of that, chains, shackles, black magic, curses, real heavy stuff, so it is, and that is basically because really what they're doing at the moment is they've cast a spell. Okay, they've cast a spell the same as what they did at that time, and it comes through that form of control, shall we say, that we're talking about, where it's implanted and then that's it, really. So it's a very similar process to what happened at the fall. I hope that makes sense to what is actually happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And where to from here? What do you perceive? Someone said here, we're talking about humankind in general, but the journey is for each soul. And absolutely, it is for each soul. That goes without saying. There's no such thing as people moving through the ascension gateway en masse if they haven't individually done the work. So there's no promises here. It's just that if you look at the astrological wheel, if you look at coming out of the galactic dark night into the photon band, an opportunity, we might say, it's like an ascension gateway has opened. And I see the gateway as something that as you get closer to it, it's not necessarily fun. You got to dig deep and you've got to do that inner work and you've got to clear all of that darkness, because if you're not a vibrational match to that ascension gateway, it's going to throw you for a six. So, this is why we need to be very level when we have these conversations, because there certainly is a fake woke contingent out there who'll just say, love it all the way, we'll be fine. And that's not what we're that is not what we're talking about. It does come down to every individual having to do transformational work, but the assistance from the Akashic Records. I love when you said, it's quantum, meaning it can be a very efficient upgrade if we like, once you go into those realms. And if people aren't investigating multidimensionality at the moment, it's something that they definitely need to do, because if you see everything through the 3D eyes, through that lens, you're going to miss a lot of what's going on in those subtle realms and how the communication comes through as well. Just before we went on live, Renee and I we had songs coming into our minds. Songs come from, like a ninth dimensional plane, because it's not spoken to like we would talk to each other. It comes in from your guides or from your star family, however you want to use that awareness of what's going on, and drops in as a code, as a knowing, as a message. But let's go back. What's going on? What's going to happen from here, Renee? Not that we can say for everyone, but what is the general trend of energy that we're talking about?
So obviously everyone is included. I just want to say that no one is excluded, because I know there's a lot of people out there that are thinking, well, I haven't taken the spiritual journey and I don't know if I'm going to move in the same direction as everyone else. But what happens is that on some level, every soul on this planet has made an agreement to on some level to ascend, whether that's a quick ascension pathway or a slower ascension pathway. I do believe that we're all here to help. We're all here as one love, You know, we're here as one love, and that's it. And I got just before, so I nipped to the shops just before we came on, and as I was walking down the road, I got the OJ's the Love Train, and it says people all over the world join hands. And then I just had like this vision of my Akashic masters with like disco balls and flash and dance floors, and like hence I've got the big old pink earrings in, because they're just and on my face, because they were just like, you know, this is like cosmic. This is because you and I work on such a high level together as well. They are so happy that we're connected in this space right now, because even in our connection today, we're in our Akashic Records.
Yeah,
we're just in it.
Right.
And this has already been written. Our higher selves would have already committed to our connection today, and we would have had like little chats, you know, like to say, oh, and are you coming on the love train, you know? So we're, you know, that agreement was already made, and everyone that's joined in this connection this morning will receive healing and love and so much, because again, this is a quantum connection. This works on a very, very high frequency. So it's love for one and all is what I want to say. That's the message that's coming through me right now. This connection is love for one and all. So it's not just talking about the Akashic Records. It's about our hearts connecting, catalysing each other, and then catalysing everyone in our field, which is so beautiful. So it works all the way around the world for everyone to hear the messages of what we're bringing in today. I feel that because we've just had Venus go direct, which is so good, because I was just not loving that whole retrograde at all on any level. I was like, right, I'm going back in my shell. This is it. I'm not coming out for a little while, because I was doing some deep dark work through that retrograde, and it was harsh. It was really because it's matters of the heart that we're working with. So it's like clear, you know, family, relationships, children, you know, just working through anything that needs to be resolved, matters of the heart basically. And then obviously we've got Mercury goes direct either today or tomorrow. I think I got it wrong. I put it on the video as the 3rd, but I think it's the 4th, so I do apologize everyone. I always get the dates wrong, but so we're moving in this forward motion now, and this forward motion is going to be quick, and I feel like the slowing down was to recalibrate and regenerate and bring everything back into cosmic realignment is what I want to say, so that so sometimes we can go on the wrong train tracks, and then all of a sudden there's like and it's like, right, okay, we're now back on the right track, you know. So sometimes we have to go backwards in order to go forwards. Does that make sense? And it's what the planets do. So yeah,
and that's the retrograde. That's the access into the Akasha. We'll keep, you know, cycling it back to that as our theme, because that's what's available, is to go backwards in order to propel forwards.
Absolutely.
Again, we're using human language. There's only ever now moments. So, but we need to bring it down into 3rd dimensional language so that we can have a concept of how these energies actually do work. But yeah, I was the same. Through end of December and into January, I mean, here in Australia, the discrimination is rife. You know, there's and you said it in your beautiful video today you did for us for our 365 days of healing. And thank you for that energy you sent to Australia, because, you know, having to have passports to go to places. I live in a small beach town. They shut down the local tavern because they were allowing anyone to come in. They sent the message out, we are not going to discriminate. And then these thugs came in, these police came in, and they shut them down, and they arrested everyone who was in there that hadn't been inoculated. And it's just, I mean, it's truly disgusting. And, you know, to be living in this space and time where that is going on just down the road for people who are really just good-natured, good-hearted people and do not want to subscribe to this Nazi discrimination. It's just beyond the pale. So we're really in the thick of it. However, because I know the darker you go, the more the light will come, I can hold ground through those spaces. But many people can't. Many people immediately go, oh my God, we're doomed. I'm going to have to toe the government line, or I'm going to be next. But actually, you've got to use your power at these times to say, I do not consent. I am sovereign. I am not buying into any discrimination, any tyranny. I say no, 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 and no. And at that point, the hologram that you're operating in has to change frequencies, and the atoms have to adapt to mirror who you are. And this, I'm going to use it again, this is crescendo time for many, many people across the planet, of course. But for Australians, I just want to say, you've got so much love coming in from
And honestly,
Renee and other people in other countries. Hold the line.
We love you so much. We've got so much compassion for you all. I've got friends that live over there, so I know how hard it is. I know, and I've just got to like say to you, like, how powerful are you to be there holding that energy, like deeply rooted in Mother Earth, like, and it's like arms out, no. And I'm just like, yes, go on, girl. Because
the rising, as well are the gods, whatever term you want to call yourself, a warrior. I don't know if Yvonne's still on. She does podcasts here in Australia, and I'm often on her show, and she's just such a powerhouse of a lady, and she's in what we'd call first wave of volunteers that Dolores Cannon refers to. She's of that older generation, but boy, is she powerful, and she knows who she is. She never acquiesces as like, if she can do it, I can do it. That's how I feel. And so many other Aussies that just know who they are, and we're here to fulfill our mission for a very specific purpose. But I really do hope people reach out to you and work with you and go into the Akashic Records and see what they can do with that quantum energy, and how we can then keep upgrading consciousness at this time, keep moving through this ascension gateway that's opened. As the dark forces are coming at us left, right, and center, we can actually do this.
Yeah, well, one of the most important things that you do is sign your soul contract, your soul's highest contract. And you do that, everything changes. You will see things literally change in your life. As soon as you sign that soul's highest contract, harmonic convergence is where I want to bring this in. Harmonic convergence of all your soul family, your soul friends of love and light, start to all of a sudden pour into your life, and you're like, okay, now I get it. Now my soul family are coming in. I've signed my soul's highest contract. I'm getting these upgrades and these downloads, and I just am like getting all this cosmic light coming in. And I it's not when that light language comes through. That came through because I signed my soul's highest contract. All the workshops that I'm doing with all these people across the planet are because I've signed my soul's highest contract. I'm working with lovely Jackie White, who does interviews and beautiful talks with people from all over the world, and she's worked with Sasha Stone and lots of other people. Then I'm working with Lovisa Alvtorn in Sweden, who's an incredible ascension master and guide. I'm working, who else have I worked with? I've worked with so many people. And then I'm working with Nick Stone, who's also an incredible divine masculine who holds such power. And, and he's very much like you, I'm sovereign, I'm free, I'm not putting up with this, knows his stuff, knows knows it inside out. And so it's really good to be working with all of these gorgeous souls. But that is because I've signed my soul's highest contract.
So how can people sign their soul's highest contract? Do you suggest that they write it for themselves, re-script and sign? What is your insight there?
Yeah, so I always ask for mine to be presented to me because it's already there. Okay, the soul has already made that agreement. Not the agreement, but the soul contract is already there in the Akash. Okay, so I always ask for that to be dropped down, and then I'll read it. So I read what it is. And I actually had another look at mine this morning, and it said leader of the light, cosmic galactic channel. And then it sort of just lists every Akashic master, and it just lists Christ consciousness number 33, and it will just list everything that is on the soul contract, and then you get to sign it. So if you want to sign the soul contract, you can. If you don't want to and you're not ready, then you don't have to. There's no force there. But I'm always like, yeah, take me to the highest timeline. I'll do the work. I'm not scared.
Yeah. There's so many questions coming in, but this one's relevant to what we're talking about right now. And I promise we'll come back to the other questions. But how do you read a soul contract? So thank you, Pia. These are the big questions.
Yeah. So obviously it takes practice, and that's why I teach people to learn the Akashic Records, because I teach people to read their own records, sign their own soul contracts, do the work in the records, but also I open them up psychically and telepathically as well. So I'm very connected to Neptune and Poseidon, who are obviously very, very high frequency telepathic energies. So it opens up the third eye and the pineal gland to be able to receive all of the information. It's a lot deeper than what people realise, but because I've been working in this field for such a long time, my energy then activates other people that I work with to be able to tap into that gift. So then when you go into the records, and obviously you're teaching people how to read the records, they then go in and you just you will just be able to read it. It's something that happens very naturally, and it's nothing to be scared of. Lots of people are scared of seeing, but it's don't be frightened. So yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Yes, darling, perfect. And what would happen if you didn't sign the soul contract in this particular now moment? Does that contract come back to you in another now moment in a future timeline? Because is it that will come to pass if it's in the soul contract in the Akashic Records, but maybe that there's playing with time, that you can suspend time, and I don't really mean that. I don't know what word, but you can mark time, perhaps. You can loop back on your own timeline and go round and round and round your own same soul lessons, trying to wake yourself up, and then come back to the soul contract.
Yeah. Well, like I said, some people are ready to sign the soul contract and some people aren't. And if you don't sign your soul contract, then it's okay. You might not be ready in that moment. You might still have stuff to work on. I'm a bit of a chuck me in at the deep end. I've always been like that. I'm like, yeah, give me the biggest challenge, It's so bad. I don't know why I do it to myself. And I do.
And then we have dark nights of the soul going, please slow it down. And you're like, but you wanted it. I know. I thought it'd all be rainbows. I'm the same. But this is a great question. Hello, lovely. And yes, but I would say yes. For me, if I was answering that, definitely through meditation and automatic writing. Absolutely. There's so many different portals and ways that you can, receive the information.
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, you can. Well, it's up to you how you access it. I've just chosen to do all my work in the Akashic Records because that's what works for me.
Yeah, beautiful. And Renee, would you go as far as to say that for those people like ourselves and Ben as well, where we just want to be thrown in the deep end, we are so ready for this. Come on, bring it on. And we're ready to ride out those dark nights of the soul.
Oh, yeah.
Is that because we've done the work before in previous incarnations? We just get to the point we are so soul weary. We're so sick and tired of our own bad behaviour. We just want that breakthrough. We're just ready now.
Yeah, we're ancient souls. Many of us are. And we know the score already. Yeah, we're written in our DNA. There's no doubt. And it's only the fear and the ego that gets in the way.
Yeah, beautiful.
So, I just feel like, I've been it's been really hard for me to step out into my full potential and to be visible to everyone, because I was always worried about what everyone thought about me. Will everyone like me? So it took for me to work through self-love issues, actually, to work on worthiness. Am I worthy to receive? But once I worked through all of that, I was then ready to become visible to everyone, which is why I'm obviously sat with you today. But I was having a chat with Lavisa last night. I was like, I'm so scared, but I know I've got to do it, But it's part of my soul contract to work with you. So it's here. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and I've had the blessing of being on your show as well. Was that last year or the year before? I don't know. Time is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and so there's, and because of those points that we have where we connect like this, even across continents, but as we know, we're in harmony and telepathy with each other and doing this work in those astral realms anyway together, and so are many of us. Many of the people tuning in right now, we meet each other in the fifth dimension or even higher dimensions, because we are all working as a collective. What I've been doing recently, and this is for me stepping up, and I really want to honor you stepping up and being seen, because yes, we do have to deal with, people think that it's being seen as the ego. No, no, that's not the ego. The ego one that is the one that says, I can't be seen. People will judge me. I can't put myself out there. So it's always that reframe. But the work that I've been doing and stepping up into, which is very much a departure from my yogic healer love light self, is to go on missions with a group here in Australia. We go on missions, combat missions, doing work in the astral realm, and actually gathering up these dark lords who are wanting to hold and are wanting to siphon off life force energy. And it's been such an eye-opener for me. And it's so powerful, because as a group, we all report to each other as we're going on this mission, and we all see exactly the same thing. And if anyone ever doubted that these astral realms aren't real, they're absolutely real, because when you do work like that in a group and you're all seeing the same thing, it is absolutely powerful. And all that we do, the guy who leads it, it's just such a beautiful soul. All that we do is we gather up these darker entities and we hand them over to the Galactic Federation of Light. That's all that we're doing. We're not really involved in anything, and they go through the galactic courts. But what's so powerful is that we all see exactly the same thing. And So here's Carrie doing her like combat missions,
Yeah.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought that we would have all these different opportunities as we go through this ascension gateway? And sometimes it's not what we thought it would be. Sometimes we get to rest in those very delightful love light, bliss spaces. And other times we've got the sword in the hand and we're being fierce and we're saying, I do not consent. And I feel like the reason I'm meant to bring this up is because so many people, and maybe I'm talking to the Aussies right now again, so many people are just relying on the love light to get through. You've got to do the work. You've got to confront these forces. You have to exercise your free will. That is your highest technology, to exercise your free will, because they're coming at you and they're coming at your children. They're coming at your DNA code, which is your God code. Well, you're not going to sit back and just, there's some light, please go away.
As soon as anyone mentions that they're after your kids, you should see me in my house. I'm like, warrior mode. Like, people think, oh, little Renee, she's so lovely. No, you've mistaken me. there's a fierce light in here, that will literally just go into fire mode, so, and that's where I stand with it. Anyone come near my children, woe betide them, because that's just not happening on any level. So I understand where you're coming from as well.
Yeah, because we often get accused of being new age, fake woke. And I understand, you and I appear that way, probably by the way we look and the interest that we have, and we're very loving and we're very devotional, and we do talk about angels and all of these things, but there definitely is that other side. So it's great that people don't misrepresent who we are, but also what the energy that we're talking about.
Well, we're
Thank you,
grounded.
Bernard. Warriors.
Yeah. We're grounded on this planet, on this earth, with Mother Earth, standing strong, standing up for our rights, in our 3D self and in our galactic self, our multidimensional self, anchoring the light in. So if anyone wants to like question that, go ahead. Because we're not, you know, we're fully in our power, and we're not here to mess around this lifetime. We're not away with the fairies. We're very grounded and rooted in our work on planet Earth, you know, and in our own physical 3D lives. The beauty of it is that we can have one foot in the physical reality and one foot in the spiritual reality, and combine the two. That takes a master. That's
right. And that's what's and that's what's available for so many at this time. But it's almost like they need to choose that other warriorship, you know, they need to bring that one in. And of course, the people who are always the warrior, they need to bring in that softness and that kindness and that forgiveness, because so many people are so incensed with rage about what's happening on the planet. They want to take their heads off some of these government officials and cabal heads, and I understand that force within them. But like those missions that I'm doing, those combat missions, we hand them over to the Galactic Federation of Light. It's not my role, not my job. Put them through the court systems. And if anyone needs to make peace with what's going to happen with those dark characters, they will return to dust. They will start at scratch of consciousness levels dirt. That's what they become, because that's the most loving thing that the cosmos will do for them. Just go back to the beginning of the timeline and make your way through dirt, rocks, mountains, insects, and all the way through until you get back to royalty. Humans are the royalty. Humans have the opportunity to ascend. No other beings in the galaxy have that opportunity. This is a treachery realm. We call it a prison planet because it's bloody tough, you know.
Honestly,
but you've got to have the fierceness.
This is the toughest school you'll ever enter into in this universe of light. I can tell you now. So hats off to everyone that's incarnated on Earth at this time. Seriously, I've got everyone so much. Like we're serious. We are, because a lot of people that can't step into that warrior self or balance the divine feminine and masculine is because they're living in too much fear of what people will think. What will you know, can you imagine, like for me, my whole journey has been really just standing alone. People are like, what is she going on about? Like, who is this person? And she's not the same as what she used to be. And it's like, yeah, because I've ascended and transcended and put the work in. And the thing is that if other people do the work, then everything can clear out in order to bring all those other aspects in, or that higher consciousness in. It can't come in until you do the work and clear it out, because you have to make space for it, which comes back to the Akasha. So the golden Akasha is there. Those libraries are there as a way to help you to step into your highest divine full potential. That's what they're there for.
So beautiful. So, darling, believe it or not, we're getting closer to our hour. So let's go back and if anyone has any questions for Renee, pop them in now. I'll see if I can go back and find. There were some questions that came through. Let's have a look. Okay, so this hi Kyle. So this was referring to what you were talking about with the Fall of Atlantis. So if you don't mind, how do we remove the collar? I've been feeling that, wondering what that was.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're getting all that. We're all getting that throat constriction.
Lots of people would have had that collar placed around their throat to stop them from speaking their truth and standing in their sovereignty. Sometimes, you know, they would just like put like these metal collars placed. So there are.
It's happening now.
Yeah. I've held. I held a workshop called Freeing Atlantis. And in that workshop, there is, we go into the Akashic Records and we remove the collar from that timeline. And that is actually on my website, and I think the cost is like £11 11p, so it's really not a lot of money at all. And then you get to go into the Akashic Records and clear that. You could also ask, you can ask your guides to remove it as well, which they will remove some of it, but I do feel it's better to go into the Book of Life and clear it at the soul, the very, very deep level. Book of Life, it will still be there on some level. Okay, so removing it, obviously with grace and love for oneself. So
beautiful. And it's important for anyone that's listening to know that they have all the power within themselves to do all of this work, and it's often intuitively guided. And you may feel that you're imagining something or that you're making something up, but if you're guided to do so, use the imagination. The imaginative portal is more real than this 3D seeming solid reality that we live in. We must re-engage, like we did with as children, the imagination, and use energy again. We've all got those powers, so it really can be as simple as making the choice and the intention to remove something like that collar, and then seeing it happen, and then seeing what energies may be there on the other side, and integrating and alchemizing those as well. And we say integrate and alchemize. If people aren't used to that language, it's sitting in whatever frequencies are coming through, whatever emotions are coming through you, and not judging those emotions. So if you feel anguish, if you feel depressed, if you feel angry, you sit there with curiosity and you embrace all that's rising up within you. And just by sitting with it, that is the alchemizing process. That's turning it from carbon into gold. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that to say it. It's not always as simple as that to practice it, because we want to distract ourselves when those frequencies start to rise up. That's why we may be having certain compulsions, addictions, distractions, whatever it might be, to go in any other direction than those forces that seem like demons sometimes that are coming up in you. You just want to get out of there. But this is where it comes into mastery again, as Renee said. You hold space for self. You sit with what is, all the uncomfortability. And surprisingly, when you do that, it doesn't take that long to transcend into frequency. And that's when that love and that bliss and that ecstasy and that euphoria comes in, and you're like, okay, that was worth it. And then next time you can do that again. Let me get to some of these. Thanks, Kyle. Beautiful. Yeah, thank you, darling. And let's see.
I just want to talk. Sorry.
Ben, do you have a download for Ben? And then we're gonna hand it over to you, Renee, to do some light language before we wrap up. So any messages coming through for Ben?
I would. Yeah, let me just. There are, but they're quite personal messages, so I don't really want to talk about them on the live. There's a lot around sadness and fear, so I'll just touch on that. But I won't go into too much detail, because obviously it's not in this moment the right time. So but just a few bits and pieces that need to be cleared. That's all. But I want to. I just want to go back to what you said about clearing stuff out and then being able. I always call it like turning poison into soul medicine. So that alchemy, that transmutation, and you can call in the violet flame for that as well, the lilac fire of source. Just call that in, and that will help to clear anything in your energy field that is out of alignment with love. And you can call that into your home, into your town, into your space, into your workplace, around your children. So I invite everyone that's watching this to call in that violet flame of love within and around you, to help you all alchemize and transmute all lower vibrational energies. just to help us.
Beautiful.
Just to help as many people as possible. And I have got some light language coming through. So if you want me to share that, I'm happy to.
Oh, yes, please.
I'll just move that mug out of the way. Simrena Shai Nice Asha Nikiesha Nicey Mayanash Naikash Rasha Saitish Mrono Eki.
Oh, I adore that. That this will be the reminder to everyone listening of who you are in those galactic planes or those higher dimensional planes, because this is how we correspond with each other in that beautiful language. And also too, Renee and I love to dance. So anyone who loves to dance, that's also light language. Remember the way you move. You watch Renee there doing with the hands as well as the vocal. That's all light language. Remember, these higher planes come through in different codes. So it's geometry and color, sound and frequency, vibration. As Tesla was there teaching us all of it, how to harness it for free energy and all of these things. So it's not woo-woo. It's actually science. You look at cymatics, you look at the way that if you have grains of sand and you play like singing bowls or sound over that sand, and it creates perfect geometrical codes. You look at water. If you told water that you loved it, it creates crystalline codes. Or if you told that water you hate it, it becomes toxic and poisonous. It's very, very important at the moment that we use those higher dimensional frequencies and grid them down, not only through our own light pillars, but down into Gaia and into her crystalline grid, because we work for her ultimately. That's why we're here on this mission, working for her, supporting her through this procession into her fifth dimensional consciousness. And many that are here right now, they're going to anchor with her and remain with her fifth dimensional consciousness, or return back to maybe a higher dimension. When we talk dimensions, it's not better or worse. They're realms, they're frequency states. There's no better or worse. We're exactly where we need to be for our soul continuum. And all is always perfect, even though the mind will go into despair and anxiety. That's okay, but we can step back from that and be curious again. So yeah, Hazel has asked here, any advice for a newbie? Should we just do one more? Anything for Hazel that's come through?
Newbie, just for the moment, make sure that you stay grounded, because if you've just spiritually awakened, you'll be receiving we're all receiving lots of light, but the mind starts to open up, the crown starts to open up, the stellar gateway starts to open up even more, the causal chakra is more receptive to receiving these light codes, the heart then goes for an awakening. So grounding, hydration, meditation, and just sit in source light and just listen to what comes through. Just feel the energy and anchor it in. Again, using working with the angelic kingdom of light and calling in the violet flame as well. I just want to go back to what you said about sound and frequency quickly before we end, because I think this is really important as well, that our souls all hold their own soul tune. So beautiful. Your own soul melody that works all the way through your bodies and fields and in your auric field. And so if there's stuff there that needs to be cleared in order to allow that soul, that heavenly music to flow through you, then we have to clear out all of that heaviness in order for that to shine more brightly. And then as those frequencies and sounds move through your bodies and fields, you can then attract in more of those soul tunes into your life, being that people, situations, opportunities. So I hope that makes sense. But yeah,
that really doesn't make sense. I feel it, like my body just starts. That's how I take in information. My body, I just start to want to dance or move, or it's like Kundalini swirl starts happening, and it's like, yeah, I feel that. That's beautiful. That's so poetic. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much, Soul, for being here with us and this sacred space that we've come to. Not only just you and I, but everyone that's been tuning in, and all the beautiful comments and great points that everyone has made. We are just one soul tribe moving through this ascension gateway together and supporting each other. When one is up and the other one's down, we come on, you can do this. And
we're holding
it's
through it. Pull each other through it, aren't we? Yeah. Stand holding hands all together. Yeah.
That vision you got is just so beautiful. So I know we'll have more chats, and we'll sign off for tonight. It's your morning, our evening here in Australia, and love you so much, my soul sister, and see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.